Hey everyone, UFC 295, Prochazka versus Pereira just wrapped up just last night, November 11th. It was an amazing card. I think we had 13 fights. We had a lot of fun fights. We had a lot of finishes. Um, just overall, I think probably one of the best cards of the year. Um, and I think we can just jump right into the first fight, I guess. We had Jamall Emmers versus Dennis Buzukja. Jamall Emmers beats him, pretty much knocks him out in the first minute.
From Jamall. Like his two previous fights, I think it's his third fight in UFC. They were kind of like, yeah, there's nothing so special. Then is Buzukja. I think that's his second fight. He lost to Sean Woodson,
Uh-huh.
but that was on a short notice fight. But in any case, I mean, Jamall definitely needed something. As his fights were not so pleasing to watch for MMA fans. And boy, he delivered. I mean, that was quick. That was a quick win. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
good for him. He definitely needed it. Definitely needed it.
Yeah, and about the fight itself, I don't think there's really much to say because there really wasn't a fight, right? He just put Dennis quickly away with that right hand, and it's probably his last UFC fight. But also we probably should mention that Jamall Emmers did miss weight, and he's missed weight many times before. So if he wants to get to the top 15, top 10, he's probably gonna have to do something about that. But overall, I mean, good performance. You knock out your opponent in a minute. What else? What else could you?
Yeah,
How it can't be any better, right?
yeah, definitely right about the weight though. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Next fight we had Joshua Van versus Kevin Borjas. Joshua Van beats him by decision. It might have been 29-28. I'm not exactly sure, but
28, correct. Yeah,
yeah, Joshua Van had a lot of hype, and I think he delivered. I mean, he did well. He constantly, I mean, he was constantly moving forward, nonstop pressure, good body shots. Um, just I don't think I don't remember the last time I watched a fight where the guy just kept walking forward. Like it was 15 minutes of him walking forward. And I thought it was okay. I mean, there was I think he was kind of dropped for a second, right? He buckled. He did take a big punch. He buckled, but he came back and poured on the pressure. Yeah,
yeah. Joshua Van. I mean, when we were following his career in Fury, which by the way, I think believe he's a champion in Fury FC. We always wondered like how would he do against opposition in UFC, a more reputable organization, and he's doing great. I mean, he sent Jalgaz Jumagul back to Kazakhstan.
yeah,
Um, and Kevin Borjas, I think, if you recall, Dana White was elated after Kevin Borjas's win in contender series. I think he had a phenomenal win, and which impressed Dana White. He gave him the contract,
yeah,
and yeah, he was bigger. Kevin Borjas, he was bigger than Joshua Wen, but Joshua Wen just kept walking him down.
yeah,
But he was doing much more than that. He did something that you don't usually see in the smaller guys do. What he was doing, he was going after the body, right? It's a
yeah,
three round fight, but he went after Kevin Borjas's like body. He those body shots were landing. Kept walking him down, and I think he made some silly decisions on the ground, like where where he was on the. I think he took down Borjas at some point, and believe in second round, and for some reason he would end up using his guard, and he went for heel hook, or I don't know, ankle lock. I don't know what he was trying to do. It's hard to
yeah,
tell. Um, and that was a kind of silly decision. I mean, he just. I understand it's hard to keep the smaller guys like that on the
Mhm.
ground, but he just just could have stayed there and win the round, and instead of allowing Kevin an opportunity to get out, and that was not that move. But he got the win.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah, he got the win.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have liked to see a little, maybe more of kicks. I know it's hard because Kevin was backing up so much. Also, yeah, it was a little strange where he set up the takedown so nicely where he had Kevin really worried about that body shot. Remember, like he had him like completely. He was at one point he was straight up and he was kind of defending the body, and Joshua Van picked him up, slammed him, got in the guard. And yeah, it was very strange how he didn't even attempt to like pass right away. He just got into his guard and went back for the Achilles lock, which is very dangerous, especially with the small guys and you're slippery. But I mean, he's looking good. I think after one more win, they'll probably give him a top 15 guy, and I think he has I think he's gonna cause a lot of guys trouble there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next fight real quick. We had John Castaneda versus Kyung Ho Kang. We had John Castaneda winning. I believe it was 30-27, all judges. A little bit of a strange fight where the first round was kind of competitive because maybe he can go Kang's way, but then all of a sudden, like in the second, third round, he just looked so lost. I mean, John Castaneda was moving well, left, right. He was bouncing in and out.
Yeah.
Not a lot of action, not a lot of exchanges, not a lot of it wasn't a very eventful fight, right? Let's just put it that way. There was kind of a lot of movement, a lot of holding in certain places. But I think Castaneda probably did what he needed to do. He got the decision. Very strange from Kyung Ho Kang because he looked completely lost. I thought he was the taller guy. I thought he was going to be able to kind of use his jab a bit more. He threw out the front kick a little, but it wasn't enough. And I think Castaneda easily won that fight with his movement. I think it was the movement.
Good for him. I think it's his second in a row at least.
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah.
He beat Muin Gafarov, which we.
Oh yeah.
The gentleman from the Tajikistan who fought 294.
Yeah, Gafarov was not bad either. So
yeah.
Let's move on. We had Jared Gordon versus Mark Madsen. We had Jared Gordon beating Mark Madsen in the first round, end of the first round by, I believe it was like a right uppercut, and then he kind of followed up with some ground and pound. I remember before, I think before the fight started, we took a look at the odds and we were like, whoa, Mark Madsen's the favorite. What the heck? But yeah, I was surprised to see Mark Madsen was the favorite. I mean, he was doing well at first. He kept he was clinching him. He was landing the good knees and he was landing the uppercuts. I mean, he had the left clinch, right? What's it called? The tie plant, but with just the left hand and uppercutting him and kneeing him. But I think it wasn't really affecting Gordon. And after a couple of punches, looked like Mark Madsen just I don't even know if he knocked him out. Kind of looked like to me he just kind of was like, I don't want to be here anymore, maybe. But I don't know.
No, I think he did hurt him. I think there was a series of punches, maybe 3 or 4, if I recall.
Yeah, perhaps. But it looked like maybe Mark Madsen. It looked like he kind of run out of steam as well at the end.
Yeah, he just like it's like he turned off all of a sudden, right?
Yeah,
he just
somebody
switch off.
I think the clinches
tired or hard to tell.
I think the clinch exchanges weren't going exactly how he wanted, and he just kind of. I don't want to say gave up. It's kind of a maybe disrespectful, but anyways, I think Gordon needed he did what he needed to do. He got back in the win column, especially after the last fight with Bobby Green, where he got headbutted, headbutt knockout. So
and especially after the robbery with Pereira, I think that's even more. Mark Madsen, I don't get that guy. I mean, I don't know why a lot of people were really high on him. He's prior to this fight, he's 2-2, and he only did two wins that he had. One came from a Clay Guida, right? It was 40 years old at least now, and
that was barely. I think that was a good pair.
Rick Piquel is also like 40. I think he's 40, 41. So he himself is not really spring chicken either. I think he's pushing 40 already. I think 39 at least.
Yeah. And Clay Guida one was also split.
And Jared, I don't know. I don't remember Jared TKOing anybody. I mean, he probably was maybe in his early career, but I
don't know.
I'd have to look up the stats, but Yeah, he definitely needed it. He came through. Good for him. Maybe you can repeat the rebook the fight with Patty. Oh, actually, what I'm saying, the Patty is fighting
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, sorry, scratch that.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's back in there soon. I mean, he seems like a good guy. He didn't take any damage, so we'll see what's next for him. But the next fight was an amazing fight, which was Nazim Sadykhov versus Viacheslav Borshchev. Slava Claus, that's a cool nickname. An amazing fight, ends in a draw. Uh, but it's very strange because because let's just call him Slava Claus. I like that. Slava Claus was lighting him up in the first, easily won the first round. Then was lighting him up like for the first 3 minutes of that second round, easily, and then just eats a left hook, then eats a massive kick to the head. Looked like it was about to be over, but Borshchev somehow survives. They give Nazim, I believe, a 10-8 for that. And then the third round, he comes out like he never got head kicked. He came out fresh, which was very surprising to me. He poured it on Nazim to win that round, and he made it a draw.
Yeah, he barely survived. We weren't sure if he was gonna make it to the end of the second round.
Yeah,
He did make it, and then not only he make it to the second round, he did came out stronger and more.
I mean,
But
yeah,
Nazimov didn't look like Nazimov was really breathing hard. It was any. I couldn't understand what, like there was. He still felt reserved and he felt stiff a little bit. I
yeah,
didn't feel like Nazim was fighting relaxed and loose like Borshchev was. Borshchev was still fighting. Still was loose, pretty loose when he was even in the facing
mhm.
at first still like that.
Yeah. To me, he looked as good in the third round as he did in the first. To be honest, I mean,
His combinations were great. Like
awesome combinations to the
he was
body.
going through the block. Like he was, Nazim was covering up, but there were, the shots were coming through. He was pivoting well.
Very nicely.
Yeah, was
So,
being very elusive. So
and
he was able to not only survive the third round, but actually win it.
yeah,
Usually, when every time we hear a draw, majority draw, it's like, it was probably, it's probably a crappy event or something. But I don't remember a majority draw that was
this was a good fight.
that was a was and to top it off all them doing the dance at the end.
Yeah,
Both
that was funny.
each one of that was kind of funny. That was cool.
I
Uh,
also Yeah, I also do want to mention Borshchev. I think his takedown defense looked a lot better. He was taken down, but he was also getting up very nicely. I think that's a major improvement because I forgot who he was fighting his last fight. Maybe I could pull it up real quick, but I remember him being held down and
yeah,
um, yeah, Mark Casey held him down. That's right. But to me, he looked a lot better. He would get to the cage. He would put the arm on the back of the neck and start to get up, gets his knees, get up. So I thought he's doing a lot better in the grappling department, and I think he's only going to look better in future events, in future fights.
yeah. I love his fights. He's a very
Yeah,
funny fighter. I
yeah,
mean,
and he's such a nice guy. Yeah, so
this is
uh,
is a cool fighter.
yeah, he
Pleasure
wins
to
the
watch.
fight of the night. So congratulations to him. Let's move on to the next fight. We had another lightweight fight. We had this was three lightweight fights in a row, right? We had Mateusz Rebecki versus Roosevelt Roberts. First of all, Rebecki looked like a little Eddie Alvarez, right? Like a Polish Eddie Alvarez. Um, and it was funny to see the size difference, right? Like Roosevelt Roberts was so much taller and so much longer. Almost looked like they were like in complete different weight classes. But Rebecki does what he does. He comes out, pours on the pressure, takes him down, and actually armbars Roosevelt in the first round. I mean, I don't remember the last time when was the last time we saw an armbar, like a traditional armbar like that, in MMA? It's very rare. Usually, maybe it's from a triangle armbar, but to pull an armbar like that is, I thought was very, very interesting. But he got it. I think is now like 19-1, right? It says here 19-1. He's on a winning streak. So
Yeah, I think
I'm
he won like 15 in a row or
yeah, we
16,
need to
like
this
something crazy.
yeah, we need to watch out for this guy. This guy is definitely gonna cause some problems. He's a multiple time ADCC, I believe, world champ or European champion, and He's a problem. He's a
he is
powerhouse.
built. He is strong. He
Yeah.
is. Yeah, probably somebody to watch out for, definitely.
Yeah, and I think he called for a top 15 guy.
Well, he called everybody out. He called out Gagey, right? He called out
No, I think you can maybe.
Makhachev. I think he called out.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I know Benoit
Oh
called him.
no, sorry. That was
Yeah, that
Saint,
was Saint
that was
Denis. But we'll get
Saint-Denis.
to
Yeah,
that.
Saint-Denis. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think yeah, Rebecki just asked for
He did ask
top
for top
15.
15. Yeah.
He didn't
True.
say a name, but I mean, there's some guys there. I mean, I think Tarantula maybe needs to give up his spot after losing two. I love Tarantula, but he loses a couple in a row. Maybe he needs to give up a spot to Rebecki. We'll see. But yeah, we definitely got to keep an eye on this guy. Next fight, we had a strawweight fight. We had Lupita Godinez versus Tabatha Ricci. Lupita Godinez wins by split decision. I thought it was a pretty clear fight for Godinez. I don't know why it was split
Yeah,
decision.
30-27. One judge gave 30-27.
Yeah, and that judge messed up a little also a couple of times. He has some screw ups in this card. So, but I mean, Ricci did knock her down, but I don't think it's not like boxing, right? Again, you don't just get a knockdown and win the whole round. This is not how it works. But I thought
it was slightly better in every round.
yeah,
Again, nothing super eventful happened there, but
no, yeah. But they were trying to hit each other hard though, which is actually a little surprising. I I thought Lupita would do a little bit better, but Tabatha showed that she's game, and I think it was what is this? Let me see. Is how many fights is she in a row now, Lupita Godinez? I think yeah, this is her fourth.
3-4. I mean, I think she lost to Angel Hill last time.
Yeah, so they're probably gonna try to push her, especially she's Mexican, and they're trying to build her Mexican roster to go back to Mexico. So, not really much to say about the fight. She wins. Okay, let's move on. We had Steve Erceg versus Alessandro Costa. I thought this was also not a bad fight. In the third round, it got a bit boring, but Steve Erceg beats Alessandro Costa in by decision. Steve Erceg to me looked good he looked good. He was kind of outranging him, and he was very technical, right? He was being a little too safe, but it was working for him until he got caught by Costa. He kind of got he got dropped.
It's very cautious,
very cautious,
super cautious. His style. He is.
And I think
he doesn't like exchanges. He doesn't like. He hates dirty fights, and that's what Costa had to do in the second round. As Steve Erceg was just out technicaling him, if that's a verb I can use.
Yeah, and it was working well for him in the second. I think he won that second round, right? If I remember correctly, Costa.
Yeah. Costa lit him up a few times, like 4 times.
But I think although this is kind of a little lackluster again in the third, where you had Steve Erceg just kind of cruising his way in that third.
He had to hold him.
He was just holding him.
There wasn't doing much,
but I do think he is very good. I think he's number 14. I do think he can make a top 5, to be honest. I really do. He is very, like you said, he does fight very cautious, but if he needs to slug it out, he could slug it out. He doesn't shy away from a firefight. Costa a couple of times was in his face, and Erceg was there, and slinging hooks back at him. So I think he can make it for sure to top 5. But let's move on. We have this is the main card now. We had Diego Lopez versus Pat Sabatini. Diego Lopez beat Pat Sabatini in, I think, the first minute. He knocked him out. He knocks him out and then follows up with that ground and pound, right? Brutal ground and pound where Pat Sabatini left arm was kind of trapped and he couldn't even defend himself, and his head was like bouncing around. Pretty brutal guy, this Diego Lopez. I like him. Good power, good jiu-jitsu.
Diego Lopez, surprised everybody with his performance against Yevloyev.
Yeah,
he had him in trouble a few times. Then quick submission of Kevin Tucker, right? That
Yeah.
triangle armbar.
Flying triangle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When he went for the takedown, got his leg, and then he just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You see this in BJJ events, but you don't really see this in MMA so much.
No.
Uh, but Pat Sabatini is also known as a good BJJ practitioner himself, and both black belts,
Yeah.
both really good on the ground. Um, it was interesting how, like, to see the combination from Diego Lopez. Like when Pat Sabatini went for a takedown, he just like threw him, like, right, and he just
Yeah.
overpowered him. It wasn't really like technical sprawling or anything. You just threw him and then landed an uppercut and a hook, and that's what got Pat down on the ground. It was pretty brutal. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't just it wasn't so much even technically, like, but it was pretty. I guess you have to say he also punches really hard. You have to say that he's a
yeah.
hard puncher.
And he's a big guy. I mean, he was standing next to was it Joe Rogan and the translator.
The other way, yeah, he was towering over him. Yeah,
Yeah. And so I know people are talking about him like he's a like they call him superstar.
yeah. They're saying he could be. He could
I don't
be.
know if I don't know if do you think he beats guys in the top five like Rodriguez and Brian Ortega? I don't know, but I do think they're gonna go in top 15 next, and I think he's gonna. I think we need to watch out for him as well.
Yeah, yeah. He did have
The
a
way,
couple like weird losses, I think, in early in his career.
yeah,
We'll see. I mean, he definitely has a potential.
yeah,
Definitely has a potential for
and he's
sure.
a young guy, right? He's only it says here 28. So and
Yeah,
then
he is.
in the
He is.
featherweight, I mean that's the prime, right? 28 to 33. So the next 5 years for this guy is going to be interesting. Let's move on to the next fight. We had Benoit Saint-Denis versus Matt Frevola. I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I think we both predicted it's going to be in the first round KO, but didn't think it'd be so quick. Benoit Saint-Denis just head kicks Matt Frevola as he's circling out to the right with that huge head kick, and then follows up with that big ground and pound, and he puts him away in a minute and a half. Benoit does. Uh, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot from everything, like his fighting style, the nickname, just
More of
brutal guy. I think is this his fourth fight in 1 year where he just right? Is this fourth fight in a year where he put away Thiago Santos, he put away
it's made
Bonfim?
of Bonfim. It started with Bonfim, the Moises, and Frevola. I think three.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
there were
three.
others.
Okay. Yeah, but in any case, I mean, he's just like sending people into outer space. This guy, all in brutal fashion.
Yeah,
So
but and Frevola, even a slouch himself. I mean, Drew Dober, as I
yeah,
thought,
that's all right.
somebody else, I forget who, like, three,
Oh no, he
three.
has knockout power. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's not a slouch himself. It was weird the way he was circling away from the clinch and the way he was moving out. I thought it was very sloppy the way he was moving away from him. It's
Yeah, it was sloppy. He had his. I don't think he had his hands down. It looked like he was more of trying to protect against the body kick, which Benoit throws. But yeah, he had the hands low. He was crossing his feet. He was circling to the power side of Benoit, like kind of very nonchalantly, and he paid for it. He paid for it.
yeah.
But Benoit after the fight calls out. He calls out Dustin Poirier. I
Yeah,
doubt he's going to get Poirier.
it turned out, yeah, he called out everybody in there.
Yeah, he called out Gamrot. Uh,
Yeah.
that's definitely a guy also that needs to be watched out for. I do think there's a lot of kind of the same cats up there, right, in 155, and I think this guy, he's
Yeah,
an
it's a bit of
interesting.
a traffic jam there now. Like we see, Tsarukan finally getting a fight, right? After all this time, now
Yeah,
he's getting a
finally
fight
getting a fight.
with
Yeah,
Dariush. So it'll probably be a while before we see Benoit Saint Denis get a meaningful fight there. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe we'll see. See how
Maybe he gets like the loser of Hooker and Bobby Green or something like that. I don't know. He definitely deserves a top 15 guy
he
for sure.
probably he probably will get the top 15 because Frevola, I
Yeah.
think, right, was a top 15.
Oh, you're right. He was
I
14,
think
right?
so he probably will get top 15.
You might be right. I think he was 14.
Tuesday.
And
We'll see what the
yeah.
when they do the rankings
And
on
and
Tuesday.
Dana and I think Dana White was saying that he wants to have Saint Denis in Paris fight, so they're probably gonna give him a big matchup next. Let's move on. Next, we had another strawweight fight. We had Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern. Jessica Andrade kind of just like steamrolls Mackenzie Dern, knocks her out in the second round. Mackenzie Dern took a lot of punches. She was dropped 4 times in 2 rounds, right? Which is a lot, especially for women's. I mean, Jessica hits hard. If you drop Mackenzie Dern 4 times, like she must hit pretty hard. I think Mackenzie Dern. I don't know. I'm really sure what she was doing. I mean, she was
Yeah,
she was. It
Andrade.
felt very amateurish. Not even amateurish. Like it felt very like the way she was defending against the punches, where she was like sticking out her arms. I've
Yeah, yes, the commentators were commenting on it, and we were saying it, and it was just um uh, basics, like just the basic stuff. Yeah, wasn't there. But
yeah
just on Andrade hit hard, and I think the first round maybe she was a little cautious about the grappling aspect, but then the second round when she understood there's nothing to be afraid of, she just turned on the Terminator mode and
yeah. I mean,
complete berserk on her.
I think Mackenzie Dern does like the same thing where she does that head and arm throw, and it didn't work out for her, and Jessica Andrade just walked her down after that. Um, I think, yeah, Andrade, this was a good win for her. She needed this win.
Yeah, she was 1-3 so far, right? Up to this year. So this is
I,
your fifth fight this year. This is the BMF. I mean, if she's this is a female version of the BMF is Jessica Andrade.
yeah,
Uh, as much as I'm not a fan of female MMA, I am a fan of her. Like a fan of somebody who just
fights.
loves fighting and just will fight anytime, anywhere, anybody.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch. Yeah, she needed it. She deserves it, and wish her well. Was awesome fight.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next fight. We had Aspinall versus Pavlovich. We had Aspinall put away Pavlovich in 70 seconds with 2 1-2s. He hit him with the first 1-2. Pavlovich is rocked on his feet, hits him with another big 1-2. The two lands on
Yeah,
the left side of the temple. Really hard to watch for both of us. We're massive Sergey Pavlovich fans. We love just everything, his fight style, the way he talks, such a nice guy. To see him fall like that was a little hard.
yeah, they're both nice. They're
They're
both
both
nice.
guys, yeah.
Well, so
And
is Aspinall and Pavlovich too. The a few things Aspinall did right there. 4 or 5 things Aspinall did right
yeah,
in that 1 minute and 9 seconds. His first thing he did is if you notice like the leg kick. The first thing he did is he threw the leg kick and Pavlovich felt it.
yeah, he felt it.
That established right away who the boss is. Like right away, he basically told Pavlovich, "I'm the boss." The second thing he did is when he took the left from Pavlovich, he was pretty much unfazed, right? Like a little bit maybe he felt it, but it wasn't something that that rocked him, right? And again, Pavlovich, everybody knows him as a KO artist, but he's not a one-time KO artist. His punches are accumulator. Like he'll win 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5, and then right here he wasn't able to do that because Aspinall was moving. Like his footwork is phenomenal. Just I can't think of anybody who can move like that. I know all commentators are saying, and no, we sound like we keep repeating what everybody else is saying, but it's a pleasure to watch. There's nobody who can move like that. Look how how elusive he was. He did a couple of things there like I didn't like when he was like like where he was dodging the the punches with his hands down, like there was a moment that I didn't like. But I guess he knew what he was doing. Maybe he knew the distance wasn't there. And when Pavlovich does his heart, but with that power, anybody who can unload like that, right? There's always a risk of you opening, right? There's always a risk of you on the receiving end. We've seen him get hit by
A lot of guys, Curtis Blades hit him.
Curtis Blades, right? Like for example, Curtis Blades, and it didn't really phase him, didn't rock him. Maybe slightly but Tom Aspinall, we found out that he can really hit hard. He can hit harder than probably Curtis Blades can, right? I mean, we have to say that.
I think it's a I do think I do think Aspinall hits harder probably than all these guys, and maybe like let's say if you what are those things called, like those punching machines? Maybe he's not going to register the highest, but I think it's his speed combined with how accurate he is, right? Also he throws everything with combinations. He's not just a lot of heavyweights just throw one big right? Like he's throwing things while like for example that 1-2-1-2, right? It wasn't just a big two. It was a jab two, then another 1-2, or like when he knocked out that Polish guy, right? It was the elbow, left hook, jab, right hand. It's like everything's also combination. So I think that makes him even more dangerous, right? Where he's not just throwing one big punch, he's throwing combinations. He's very well. And I don't think anyone will beat him in the heavyweight. I think no one will beat him there.
I don't think anybody can beat him.
I think when because people were saying, oh, why didn't why don't they want to do Stipe versus Aspinall or John Jones versus Aspinall? Because UFC knows Aspinall. I think they know Aspinall is just gonna beat
as much as Dana White can say that we've heard him many times say, oh, we make the best fighters fight the best fighters. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
No.
You don't make the best fighters fight the best fighters. Yeah. Aspinall is the best fighter today. And we all know what's going to happen to Miocic if Miocic were to face him. We all know what will happen to Miocic. We probably all know what will happen to John Jones too. As much as I love John Jones, but you have to say this is Tom Aspinall's time now.
I think Aspinall probably. I don't know. I don't think there's a heavyweight now who beats him, and I don't think there's ever a heavyweight that's. I mean, it's probably too bold, right? And too soon.
It's probably too early to say, the best of all times. But he certainly has the qualities.
It's just the movement. The movement is
think
too
of
much.
Anybody like that. Like I'm sure, like for example, in the Pavlovich camp, they were worried about two things. They were worried about, probably, right? Three things you have to say. They're probably worried about Tom Aspinall surviving the onslaught, the early onslaught, and taking Pavlovich like in later rounds and deep waters, and as everybody was saying, with Aspinall being a younger fighter, he might be more conditioned better, and Sergey's power will fade with every round. So he's probably he was accentuating maybe work at the later rounds. Another thing they were probably looking at is Tom Aspinall's grappling ability, right? His ability to grapple. But this aspect of Aspinall's ability to, another aspect is definitely the speed, right? Which we probably can say now definitely that nobody can deal with. We'll see maybe if Gone will have an answer for that. I doubt. But the aspect of Aspinall's ability to land as he moves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ability to land accurately with great power as he moves is amazing.
Yeah, that's the most dangerous, is while he moves. He's not like one of those old heavyweights where they just kind of go forward, right?
He didn't have to grapple here. No need to grapple. He didn't have to do anything, to just basic stuff, moving,
1-2.
Like butterfly, 1-2, 1-2.
Yeah, and also win, but unfortunately for him, he's probably going to be out for a while just because of the whole Stipe versus John Jones. So hopefully they figure that out soon. But
Maybe
yeah,
I'd love to see him fight Gane, perhaps. You know, I mean, I don't know who else they can fight there.
we'll see. That could be a big fight. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. They're talking about doing an event in Spain or Paris, or that would be an awesome event. I think, right?
Yeah. I think he probably beats Gon, but that's probably for another time.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the main event. We had Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka. Pereira beats Prochazka in the second round by KO. I thought Alex looked good in the first round, right? He was laying those big kicks to the leg, which really were affecting Prochazka. I mean, after three of them, like Prochazka's left leg was like purple. Prochazka was clearly affected, but kept walking forward, does his usual thing. He was losing the first round, but then he takes down Pereira, lands some big elbows. Perhaps it's like a very close fight. I think you can give that round, close round. Sorry, you can give that one to either one. But then Prochazka comes out in the second round a little hotter, right? Like really pouring it on. I thought he had Pereira hurt at one point. He had him against the cage. Prochazka looking good, and then he just kind of leaps in with this big overhand right. Pereira easily sees that, lands that patented left hook, drops him, hits him with elbows, and Mark Goddard stops it. I don't know whether it was an early stop, probably was, but I think Prochazka definitely was out, and Pereira is a double champion now. Not double champion, right? But a double weight class, right?
Division champion.
Two division, yeah. So the guy's good. The guy's freaking good. I thought Prochazka would beat him just because of his how many MMA fights he has and just the experience overall and the grappling. But Pereira beats him, knocks him out.
Yeah, and Pereira beat him while on defensive, right? We usually Pereira is we rarely see him back down, right? We don't see him backing away from anybody. He's usually like always the one that just like keeps coming, keep coming, like a Terminator. But in this case, it was different. Prochazka had him against the cage, and but he punished Prochazka for just, you know, when you and I spoke about this fight, this is probably as close as we predicted it, right? We didn't really say that it's going to be Prochazka at the you know at the cage, but we did say that Pereira probably will punish him for his openness, for punish him for not being the classic in a sense that he doesn't cover up. He just hands are like this, right?
Very reckless, yeah.
Down is and Pereira doesn't need much torque, right? Just I don't even know how he does it, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that left.
Like, there's not his body didn't even move, right? It was just
Yeah, that left hook. If you look, his left leg didn't move. His hip didn't move. That left hook probably traveled like 8 inches and still was enough to knock him out. And Pereira, yeah. I don't know. The problem is probably the future matchups, right? But he beats Prochazka. He unifies the 205 championship, the weight class division, right? And yeah,
I mean, him and Jamall Hill would be an awesome fight.
It's probably gonna be him and Jamall Hill next. Yeah, but I think that's all for the breakdown today. Again, awesome card. If you guys didn't watch it, go back and watch it for sure. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Ciao.